your accountant hands you your profit and loss with a smile on their face and they're like, hey, business owner, things are looking great. You're profitable. That means you're going to owe the IRS. Congratulations. But inside your head, you're thinking, how can that be? I haven't paid myself in 6 weeks or more. This is a very real thing that I have seen multiple times. And I've seen it happen multiple times throughout the year with different business owners. So, this episode is going to explain exactly why that happens and to how to keep it from happening. So, one of the most frustrating things I see when it comes to business owners having a great business on paper, but not being able to pay themselves is that revenue is coming in, you're profitable, you've got money in the bank account, but because of the timing and the structure of things, you're not able to pay yourself. And there could be a few reasons why this is happening. The first thing is it could be that on your profit and loss, yes, it does say that you're profitable, but the timing of when the profit is there versus when it's actually in the bank account is very, very, very different because you could invoice a whole slew of customers and have, $100,000 in profit for the month. But if not one of them pays you, your bank account is still at zero. I don't care how much profit you have. If they are not paying you, there is no cash received. So let's say you invoice $15,000 in January, but the client doesn't pay you until March. But then in February, you've got to pay your team. You've got to, it's business as usual. You've got to keep the lights on. Meanwhile, this client still has not paid you. A way to prevent this is to make sure that you have very, very, very stringent terms in place, whether that is due on sale, net 15, net 30, whatever it is, and make sure you have a process to follow up should they exceed that. And so I don't mean, you're on a job site and something pops into your head and you're like, oh, they were supposed to pay last week and they didn't. Let me call them when I get back to the office. But you never make it back to the office because you're too busy in the field working. That's not a system. A system is I have whatever bookkeeping service or accounting service I use, invoices my clients, and if they are late, you can do this yourself in QuickBooks or whatever accounting software you use. It can automatically send emails to them. It can automatically charge late fees. You don't have to collect on those late fees. When your client calls you saying, "Hey, I need to pay whatever invoice," you can waive the late fees so you don't, hurt the relationship. I get that. But it is a system so that you keep yourself from having to wait for cash to come in because profitability is no good if there's no cash to show for it. Another thing that I see happening, probably more than anything else, is when I ask a business owner, how much did you pay yourself last year or last month? And they tell me, well, I just kind of give myself whatever is left over. Do not do that. If you worked for somebody else, would you expect your employer to say, hey, we had kind of a bad month, so I can't pay you this month? Why would you do that to yourself for your own business? Your salary as the business owner needs to be a line item just like all the rest of your employees. It needs to be non negotiable. And so you need to make sure as a business owner that your business is there to support not only your team, but you as well. I had a conversation a couple months ago with one of my clients. We were going over his salary because he was just taking a draw like here and there when there was cash in the bank. There was hardly ever cash in the bank. And so he was telling me, I'm worried because this business does not support me. And so I said, well, it's going to from now on. We're going to make sure of it. What we ended up doing was, we looked at what his monthly payroll expense was. This is for all his team members, excluding himself. We added in a salary for him. I think it was maybe like $70,000. It wasn't anything real flashy or big, but it was enough for him to live off of beyond what he was taking from distributions. And we said, okay, this is now a regular part of payroll. So whereas your payroll number per month was this, it is now this. It is your responsibility as the business owner to make sure the business supports this new payroll number. And so it kind of like lights a fire because they're like, okay, well, now I need to revisit my prices and I need to make sure my pipeline is strong because I'm not going to miss a paycheck. Like it really adds that level of conviction when you yourself are on payroll. Get yourself on payroll and stop just taking whatever is left over as a reward for yourself. That's not how you pay yourself as a business owner. And so let's say, the cash flow thing is a problem and you have been just taking whatever is left. The problem with that is number one, you don't know over a period of time how much you have actually taken. Let's say you see, $25,000 in the bank and you're like, okay, well, I'm going to take 5 or 6,000 for myself this month and leave the rest. But then next month you see like $8,000 in the bank, you're still wanting to take 5 or 6,000, but you're like, "Oh my gosh, that leaves like $2,000 in my business checking account." That's the problem with that is that cash is, for the most part, pretty inconsistent. We do what we can to make sure it's structured and predictable, but at the end of the day, like, it is unpredictable. So if your salary is also unpredictable, you're going to grow to hate your business. That's why it's so important to have a base salary for yourself, which is what do I need to survive? To pay my own personal bills, like what does my salary need to be? Beyond that, ask yourself, if I was working for somebody else, what would I expect them to pay me doing this job working for somebody else? And then add yourself a premium on top of that because you are not just the employee of your business. You are the business owner and you need to be compensated as such. And then once you've got your salary in place, that's when you can say, okay, the business did really great this month. Let me take a little draw as a reward because you're entitled to that. And so if you need help thinking, well, I really don't know what I can afford, what I can pay myself from this business because it's so volatile and I don't know how to predict that, then please reach out to me. My contact is always in the show notes. This is exactly what I help business owners do is pay themselves so that they don't grow to hate their business. All right, see you guys next week.